Good morning. I'm doing this video in my capacity as a veteran member of the African National Congress. I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone else. I'm not speaking on behalf of my employer. I'm executing my right to speak as a member of the African National Congress who joined the ANC 42 years ago at the age of 19 and who has been a member of the ANC in good standing ever since. My concern is about what happened in Parliament on Monday, where the African National Congress Members of Parliament who were present and logged in to the virtual Zoom session of the National Assembly voted in favor of a motion by the racist Democratic Alliance. There's no need to beat around the bush about this. For the African National Congress, through its members of parliament who have been put there in parliament, by the 10 million plus votes that the ANC received during the last national elections in 2019, to use those votes that brought those MPs to the National Assembly and then to donate them to a racist party such as the Democratic Alliance is an utter shame. I also am absolutely convinced that it is in contravention of the Constitution of the African National Congress. Rule 2517 of the ANC Constitution reads as follows, and I quote, "An act of misconduct is joining or supporting a political organization other than an organization in alliance with the ANC in a manner contrary to the aims, objectives, and policy of the African National Congress," close quote. Now, certainly, it cannot be the aims, objectives, and policy of the ANC as the preeminent liberation movement in South Africa to support the activities of a racist party such as the Democratic Alliance. The Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Ace Magashule, was absolutely correct when he described the Democratic Alliance as the enemy. To vote on behalf of the enemy for a motion that was tabled by the enemy is treasonous. I personally, as a member of the African National Congress, can only say, not in my name. And I would like to call on all other members of the African National Congress who feel the same to convey this message together with me. Not in our names as members of the African National Congress. I've listened to some of the disingenuous arguments that have been advanced to say that this motion was not yet a decision to remove the incumbent public protector, or that the rules of parliament that have been written specifically in order to try and address and target the public protector would have been contravened by voting against this motion is absolutely fallacious. It is an utter shame that members of the national office bearers of the African National Congress addressed members of the caucus of the ANC and told them to vote for this motion. It is also an outrage that when those ANC members of parliament of that ANC caucus who wanted to raise their concerns and object, raised their hands to do so, that they were not allowed to speak. It is in contradiction of all the democratic processes that the African National Congress stands for and should stand for. Monday was a shameful day in the history of the African National Congress. I salute those 62 members of the ANC who logged out of the parliamentary virtual Zoom meeting and did not participate in this vote, which contradicted everything in every possible way that the African National Congress should stand for. It is shameful. Let me repeat again. I call on every African National Congress member in their branches, those branches that are the building blocks of the ANC, to stand up and to be counted, to state without any fear of contradiction that they will not allow such a travesty to be perpetuated in the name of the ANC and in the name of those who are supporters and voters of the African National Congress. Now is the time for us to put our collective foot down, to say clearly, as the members of Umkhonto we Sizwe said on the 16th of December 1961, there comes a time in the life of a nation to either submit or to fight. To paraphrase it, there comes a time in the history of the African National Congress, and for every single one of us as members of the ANC, to either submit or to fight. The fight is now to say, not in our names. The National Executive Committee of the African National Congress still has to address this issue, because it must be pointed out that the national office bearers, the NOBs, are not a structure of the African National Congress. We call on the NEC to repudiate this utterly unacceptable action by members of the national office bearers, to reiterate the position of the ANC that it will not work, it will not make common cause with organizations whose aims, objectives, and policy the ANC cannot support. It is now up to the NEC to deal decisively with those national office bearers who have taken this action, to take the necessary disciplinary action against any member of the African National Congress who decided to vote in favor of this motion by the Racist Democratic Alliance. It is now the time to regain the dignity and the revolutionary heart of the ANC. If we don't do so, we will fail ourselves and we will fail this beloved movement of ours. Viva ANC, viva! Amandla! Viva African National Congress! Viva the Congress Alliance! A luta continua!